Anybody else got anything? No. Minutes of the last meeting? And all right?
Great.
Okay. We'll start, as you see on the agenda, public participation session. Now, in accordance with our standing orders, the public participation session will be for a period of up to me, and because there's quite a lot of you, and I think if you've got several questions, it'll be 15 minutes. Any member of the public can speak for a period of time, 3 minutes maximum. Okay, that doesn't mean you're going to talk for 3 minutes, but 3 minutes maximum. And any questions does not necessarily require a response at this meeting, and neither will it start a debate. It's just purely your fire questions at us. No one person shall speak, no one more person shall speak, and the members of the public are only entitled to speak during this session and not during the meeting that will follow. If there's any conversations during our meeting, the person will be asked to leave the room, and I will. Right, the first part of that public meeting, the public participation, explanation and discussion regarding why yellow lines were chosen. Now, you've all got a copy, I think, or should have got a copy. If you haven't got a copy, pick up one there off the chairs. The questions, and it does state quite clearly there why we ended up with yellow lines, double yellow lines. We looked at a lot of things, a lot of ideas we talked about. There is a parking problem in the village. I think everybody will agree with that. If anybody doesn't agree with parking, speak now, because there is definitely a parking problem in the village, and it has to be addressed once and for all. We ended up with yellow lines following the discussions and suggestions from Devon County Council. It's not something we took too lightly to, I must admit. But when we went through it, there was no other alternative. We looked at lots of different things. Troughs were a big idea, but then we realised obviously they've got to be on the tarmac to be any good, not on the pavement. So we couldn't go along those lines. We looked at boxes, but the boxes now are 4.8 by 2.4, which is bigger than most cars, and that's the size they are by law, and that would have made things worse. We looked at other different things. Signage was another thing we looked at, but it ended up with double yellow. Now, we discussed the yellow lines and the arrangement of the yellow lines with the Devon County Council. We came up with a plan, they came up with a plan and put to us of where the yellow lines ought to be. We discussed it when we put it out, and we decided it was too much, and we cut the yellow lines back. They are now, the yellow lines are, as you probably have seen, and that's what we're proposing. Now, you all got something to say about that, I'm sure. That is the reason why we ended up with yellow lines. Any questions? No? Right, explanation and discussion regarding why two of the proposals, the King's Arms and the zigzag lines, they are already agreed. Well, actually, technically, I don't think they are already agreed. The reason the zigzag lines outside the school, I believe they realised when they inspected the lines outside the school that they were less than what they should have been by law, and needed to be reaching a bit further, I think both ways were. So they're going to have to be increased to suit the law. The reasons why King's Arms, we were asked by King's Arms to look at trying to do something there, and we put the yellow lines there to try and keep some of the cars away, to allow cars to turn and vehicles to turn up the road rather than always down the road. If there's a car opposite, I've pulled over there myself on more than one occasion. If there's a car opposite park, you cannot pull out and drive up the road. So that was the reason why we put that line there. Now,
Can I just say as well, also buses can't get.
oh, they can't get through because of the step.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the reason why we did that. Any questions on that one? No? Explanation and discussion regarding proposed limited waiting times outside the store. Now, that's pretty obvious. I think it speaks for itself. It's also in the leaflet you've got in front of you. We had to do something there. There's cars parked there all the time. I believe over the Christmas period there was a car parked and locked up there for 3 days over the Christmas holiday and never moved once.
But with all due respect, that car could have moved 20 yards down the road and still could have stayed there, so it still would have taken up a parking space.
Yeah, but it was parked outside the store and was parked in a silly place. It was locked up and left for 3 days.
But it could have been parked anywhere along that line of cars there,
Well,
anywhere.
I don't know.
It wouldn't have made any difference.
I wasn't there on Christmas Day
Yeah.
to see it myself.
But it could have parked 2 cars down and still had the same effect.
If
So
you're saying that, fine. Explanation, and have you got any questions regarding that box? Waiting box? Oh, yes, yeah. Sorry.
What's going to happen is people are going to double park there, because one will go into the shop and they're on that right? Somebody's waiting to come to the park to get in, then somebody parks outside and then that one doubles up, then we've got a road blockage in the actual area. I'm finding this happening in the morning, very early in the morning. They come up the road, stop, go and get a paper, but somebody's maybe talking in that car parking space, no one's going to get, it's going to be a bit of a muddle again. We're still not going to get itself a problem.
Well, that parking bay will have a 20 minutes waiting.
but no one's going to check it. Who's going to check it every day, all day long? What's going to happen if someone parks there for an hour? Who's going to manage it? Enforce it?
Well, the enforcement officers will be keeping an eye on all of it if it goes ahead.
How regular?
I can answer that. They go out to Chagford, they keep an eye on that out there.
And they're going to come to the village to enforce 2 parking spaces, are they?
And on their way through, they will be coming through South Seal, keeping an eye on this.
Once a week for half an hour? Waste of time, isn't it, really?
Alex wanted it, so maybe.
No, and I can see Alex would want it, and I can see if it was enforced. How brilliant for Alex. We should be supporting the businesses in this village, not penalising them for trading in the village, like we feel at the moment. We're being victimised. You know, our customers have got nowhere to park when these yellow lines go in. What are we going to do? Can we have some parking bays for our customers outside on the road?
Can't they go to the car park?
They could, but it's often full.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Well, I'm sorry, Jane, it is.
Not when the village is empty.
Yeah.
All right, let's not start an argument.
So can I apply for some parking bays for my customers on the street as well, so my business can remain
Look,
trading?
your business is your business.
No, it is my business, but you're stopping my business now, aren't you, by these yellow lines?
Why don't you open up the back?
Oh, you can't get cars out there, Jane.
Yes, you can.
Yes, oh, why
Jane,
I used to work at the Oxfam and I used to drive around the back.
Jane, I have a letter from the Dartmoor National Park, which is 1 month old, saying that we will never be allowed to have parking in the back of our property. Please put that in the minutes. Thank you very
Even
much.
your cars can't go out there.
Yeah,
No.
no.
We park our cars. Jane, we have 1 car in a garage at the back, and that is it.
Please put in the minutes that I will send the parish council a copy of that letter. Thank you very much, Rebecca.
Chair, can I
Sorry,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. Just want to challenge the point about there being parking space in the recreation ground car park. There's been quite a few comments, I'd like it minuted please as well, but there have been a few comments that have been made recently about the parking in the car park at school times, and that at other times the car park isn't so well used, and possibly also at school dropping off and picking up. Yesterday morning at 11:50, I counted the number of cars in the car park. Sunday morning 11:50, there were 32 cars in the car park. So many cars, but there were 2 that were parked just on the entranceway into the car park. I did go into the pub to find out if there were lots of people in the, certainly in the office at the time, spoke to Callum, and he said no. I think that yesterday was a really beautiful day, it was nice that we had a holiday, and I think my observation was that it could be walkers, it could be people visiting family, but there didn't seem to be a particular reason. There was no event, I think, that was on yesterday morning in the village. Certainly nothing at the recreation ground that I thought explained it. So I do want to challenge the notion that the car park, it has capacity at the time of park from obviously school time. So February.
There were still at least a dozen spaces free yesterday.
That was at 10 to 12 yesterday, there were no spaces in the car park
There were.
yesterday. Well, I've got a photograph, I've got video.
Was that the video you put on Facebook where the car park was full?
At 10 to 12. No, at 10 to 12, I've got video.
All right, okay, we're not going to...
I have video.
So just put in the minutes that we've got a video of the car park at 10 to 12 yesterday. Thank you very much.
I just think we need more parking, that's all in the village.
Can I have a question?
Yeah, about the waiting spaces outside the shop, limited waiting.
Yes.
But I don't think that's going to help the customers really, because as already said, they're just going to park somewhere else. What it's going to do is it's going to block up two places for residents to park overnight. And parking overnight is a big problem for residents on the main street of South East. So if that's going to go in as waiting places, at least could it be only in sort of 8 till 6?
Yeah, well, that makes sense. doesn't
Yeah,
it?
that makes sense.
But I mean, I'd rather not have them at all. And I think just to make two spaces, 20 minutes only, people will just park their car through here, they'll just go down the road another couple of
Well, there's
spaces.
no reason why after 6 o'clock it can go back to normal parking.
Yeah.
Chairman, there is a yellow van that parks there every day, all day. All day, doesn't move.
Yes, it does.
Doesn't
That's our
start at 8
chef.
o'clock in the morning.
That's our chef.
That's your chef.
And he doesn't park there all
Why can't you park in
day.
the car park?
He doesn't park there all day. He starts in the morning at 10 o'clock, he finishes at 3 and then comes back again at 5 and leaves at 9.
Right.
So it's not all day. That's not all day.
Waiting places.
He has as much right to park there as anybody else in the village.
Mrs. Powell, please.
Can I ask a
Mr.
question?
Chairman, I'd just like to say, like this meeting as well, at 7:30, or 7:15, at down the bottom of the village, there's no cars parked down there. And at the bottom of the village, there's plenty of parking.
Well, it's random, Brian, isn't it? Sometimes there are parking spaces and sometimes there aren't. It's just random. You can never guarantee it.
Okay.
So just that point is that there's always plenty of parking at the bottom of the village as well. There is there tonight. If you walk down tonight, there's parking there now.
Can I just ask, I don't know if we're coming on to it, I can see attached at the back of the agenda is the number of yes and no votes. Can I ask what the decision of the parish council is based on the consultation? Or are you coming on to that a bit
That will
later?
be covered.
Thank you.
Right, we're to number 4, explanation and discussion regarding any of the individual proposals which are acceptable to some and those not in favour generally. Now you know where the yellow lines are going to be. I think we all know where the yellow lines are going to be. Is there any area of yellow lines that you're not happy with? Sorry, at the back.
I did like to email the clerk and people onto the discussion group with the email address. I'm concerned about parking on Cherry Corner still. I think I know we've got to hold back. For 2 reasons really. One, as you come around the corner there, lower down, I think we're still going to have the same situation with block cars, but could potentially park right at that corner lower down.
Yeah.
So you're still going to be coming in on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And also previously mentioned in that email, if cars do park lower down, all the drains there, as I previously mentioned, are last drain for flooding starts to take place then bottom of the village. The last drain takes the water away from the village.
So you would like to see the yellow line come down further?
Yeah, for both reasons really. But one thing to say to you, I think, it's not if you've got cars parked in Cherry Corner,
Yeah.
it's a hazard.
Yeah.
I haven't been an accident, well, I know there's been an accident there. I know there's been a truck and a trailer jack in there in the week, which
camber road and a bit of ice, and also because of the flooding protection that if we can't clear that grade in the car parking lot there, then we will flood in a lot of the village, so that is done.
Yeah, okay.
Second that, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, okay. There has been some comments about that already. So we've mentioned it to Devon County, and apparently we can look at this. Shelley Corner can be one of the areas that we look at again. I thought that we can do it for 6 months. No, we can't remember the PRO for 6 months, but after the 6 month period we can look at it again.
Can I ask, Chair, please, in regard to this question, why did the Parish Council not ask the parishioners for a nuanced response about, if you're asking a question now about individual proposals which may or may not be acceptable, why was that not included in the consultation?
In the consultation?
Yeah,
So we didn't want to go into discussion in the consultation.
No, because you're asking the question now, and there are only those people present here today to answer that. I'm asking, why was that not included in the consultation?
Because the consultation was about our TRO. The TRO is all the areas marked, not one particular area, not any particular area, it's the whole lot. So we were asking for your opinion. We had several comments in the consultation saying that they didn't agree, like say what Mr. Jeffries was saying there's Shelley Corner, they didn't agree with that, so they voted no. They were in favour of everything, but they just didn't like Shelley Corner. But we could not do discussions on all the individuals. We'd never be able to deal with it. This is our proposal as it is.
Can I respond to your last question about which yellow lines you would like to see?
Yeah.
It doesn't fit. The end of School Lane, all of the yellow lines around there.
Yeah.
It seems to me that the biggest problem there is when it's school dropping off, picking up time, where that becomes a real problem. And putting yellow lines there is not going to resolve that issue at those two parts of the day.
Well, they can pick up and drop off on the yellow line. That's not against the law.
No, I get that. But
They leave the car. They take the car away. They walk and leave the car there.
People come down there. My office looks down directly on that, so I see it day in, day out. And what happens is people come to drop the children off. They either go up opposite the chapel or just round the corner with that open space, and they park there and then go to the shop or chit chat outside. And putting the yellow lines there will just, if they're going to stop for any length of time, they'll go somewhere else in the village, and that causes even more of a problem. It also reduces the amount of parking in School Lane for the houses down there. Now I know that everybody's in the same boat, but that will penalise particularly that part of the village severely.
The problem that I can see there on School Lane really is the highway code does not allow you to park on a junction like that.
I get
the same like Hillfield, exactly the same.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to park by the highway code. So it could be police now. But with yellow lines, it can be enforced.
And I get that, and I suppose the final point is the enforcement of it. I suppose my greatest concern is people will park on there and there will be some confusion about, well, somebody's parked on the yellow line, I'll park the other side of them, and it will block it up even more. It's just an observation.
Okay, sorry.
If it's already enforceable by the highway code, then why do we need to have the yellow lines? Who's going to enforce? If it's already enforceable, then who's going to enforce the yellow lines?
We have tried desperately hard to get people to realise you cannot park and leave your car locked up on a junction like that. But still, they carry on doing it.
But it's already enforceable, so why not just call the police?
That's what we will be doing. Once the yellow lines are down.
But why do you need the yellow line? Why not
Anybody
just call
that
the
parks
police
on the yellow
anyway?
lines, it will be enforced.
If
also-
I
Why
just-
do we need the yellow line? Just call the police.
Yellow lines then, if it's a law anyway, why have yellow lines?
So you could turn it around and say, well, there's
It's
never any
already
yellow lines
enforceable.
put
You
down
don't need
years ago.
to deface the village. It's already enforceable.
That's what he's saying, it's enforceable by the highway code.
It's enforceable by the
People
home.
don't take any notice, do
But
they?
you can
Because
already-
people still park on the.
Yeah, but you can still, the yellow lines are not magic. You can still park on them. People
I
will
think-
still do it.
I think one of the things that I've noticed, because I sit there and see it day in, day out, is people generally are sensible and they will self-organise to get out the way. There was a fire engine came down Thursday. There was somebody parked on the opposite side of the road, not up against the chapel, but
Yeah,
on the
I saw
pavement.
that.
And I was sat watching it happen. Now, if they were up against the chapel, the appliance would have been able to mount the curb if needed. It didn't. It went through at walking pace. So, to put yellow lines there and on the opposite side, I don't think it will stop people parking in that pinch point. But most of the time, and I do mean most of the time, people just self-organise, and if there's something stupid going on, they do something about it. But most people don't. It's the time of the day is dropping off and picking up. It's not madness.
Well,
But the rest of the time, it
differ
isn't.
that because somebody told me the other day they came down through the village, they went to Turnstile Lane and they only had a van, couldn't get through, couldn't get round the corner because of the cars, the way they were parked off by the church and opposite, outside your house. So they had to reverse back out and go up the other way. They could not get, that was with a van.
Yeah, there are delivery vans that come down there at 5 o'clock in the morning.
It was a bit like a small Ford Transit. So that was, say, 9 o'clock at night, wasn't it?
And the fire engine tried to get down to the school as well.
Yeah,
They
well,
would never ever get on there.
yeah, well, I know.
We got to
There's
do
quite a
something.
story about that, which I could bore you with, but
I think we've got to do something that's enforceable.
okay.
Can I
But
just,
it's already enforceable.
That's
Can
what
I
he's saying.
just second, councillor White saying that the vehicles couldn't get through. An ambulance came down through the village on an emergency call 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Couldn't get through. It wasn't school time, but the ambulance could not get through. There was a gentleman glass at the bottom of the village and it couldn't get through to him. Not at school time.
That's priority.
Can I just say, I agree with the idea that, that there are obviously problems, but double yellow lines need to be enforced, otherwise they're absolutely pointless.
Absolutely.
And I don't believe that anything different. As has been said, you shouldn't park anywhere to cause an obstruction. It's against the highway code anyway. I mean, for example, outside our houses, you can park on both sides of the road because there's no yellow lines on either side. Nobody parks on both sides of the road. Why not? Because if you did, you'd never get anything through there. So people self-police the fact that that's there. There's nothing to stop somebody just going parking on the other side of the road, but it doesn't happen. What I'm worried about is when you get double yellow lines, it also gives people to park anywhere that there isn't a double yellow line. So you take away that self-policing and people will just say, can't park there, I'll park anywhere I like.
Can I ask you then, why do people constantly park on this pavement out here? Constantly. So children walking to school have to walk in the road.
Yeah.
I just beggars believe with me, why do
Are they
people
residents?
think they can park illegally and just don't give a monkey's about anyone
And I don't
else?
think those same people will do anything different with double yellow lines.
Something has to be done.
But
If
you
you
don't
can come up,
change it.
if you can come up with a good idea, it would be fantastic. But something has to be sorted.
But the
And
yellow
this
lines
is
are going to make it
what's
worse.
Can I just say that there are things that have been thought of. Unfortunately, Nick isn't here tonight. He's been leading the Southfield Car Park Working Group, and we've been meeting now for some time and looking into various options. One of the things we're really focusing on is the option of people who are bringing their children to school at drop-off and collection times. So it's not that we're thinking about we're just thinking about residents, we're just thinking about people who are visiting the pub or the shop.
Yeah.
We're thinking about everybody who comes to the village with a car. And we know from the work that's been done how many children are being brought to the village in cars. It's approximately 100 children are being brought. So it's a big issue.
Not quite that many.
It's a big number that are being brought. So I don't think that's going to change. So I think we do need more parking, but in a place where I think we need additional parking. And we need somewhere where people will be able to safely drop off their children and pick them up without interfering in the running of the village and the ability for the emergency service vehicles to get through. On the emergency service vehicles, I'd just like to say that we're in a very fortunate position in the village to have multiple points of access. So I lived in Tawton for many years. On the Strand in Tawton, which has got some of the most expensive properties in Devon, there is only one point of access and egress. Only one point. It's never been addressed. Because it is the way it is. There are lots of places in Devon where there's only one route. We're just incredibly fortunate to have multiple points of access.
That would be okay. That would be okay if you didn't get the ambulance driver to turn around and say, legally, we have to follow sat-nav. We are not allowed to deviate from sat-nav. If they were to have an accident while doing a route out around Prospect or something was to happen, or taking a deviation like you just explained, they would be full of hyphen. And if you think about it, you can understand exactly what he's referring to. They have to follow sat-nav, which would take them straight out through the
So that doesn't make any sense, though, Chair, because if there was a blockage, so when I'm going up the M5 to visit my mother and I'm following my sat-nav,
Oh, that's
if
different.
there's a blockage and I have to, and my sat-nav will give me an alternative route, and I can't imagine that an ambulance, having come to a point where it can't get through, will just say, I'm sorry about that, we can't go there because we've got to
That's fine, as long as it's not down dead down the bottom of the village, and he's coming in the top of the village.
So, my daughter's a student paramedic. Do you want me to go and get her so she can answer this question? Because I think the notion that people have to follow a sat-nav or nothing is an absolutely preposterous one.
No, I think what he means is that they have to go with their sat-nav. You know, if they came to an obstruction, they would turn around.
Yeah.
But if you imagine there was an ambulance coming in from that way and got down the bottom of the village and thought, right, I can't get to that person, I'll go out that way and come in this way. Got up here and then decided they couldn't get through, so then had to turn around and come in school lane.
Can I just say...
Hang on, I'm finished. And then come to school lane and think, I can't get through there. In that time,
Can I just say that the situation with an ambulance not getting through the other night, I was in an unfortunate position and I did need an ambulance in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning. Got through, no problem. Rushed me off to hospital, no problem whatsoever.
you were lucky then.
I was 4.5 minutes it took to get to me and rushed me to hospital and probably saved my life. So there's always the goods as well as the bad.
Absolutely.
So,
Can I just answer the lady about the school children?
Yeah.
There used to be a school bus. Do you know why the school bus stopped? Because of the parking. Couldn't get through the village.
So I think the current
there you go.
parking isn't adequate. I absolutely agree.
But the school bus
can I-
was, you know.
That's not right. We changed the route of the school bus because it couldn't get through. It used to go around the back
No.
and come in.
What this school bus or the college school bus? The college.
Oh, the village school bus.
Yeah. Yeah, it did get changed, but it used to come down through the village.
Yeah, but
And it used to have the Oakley children on it.
but
But they couldn't bring a bigger bus through.
sorry, but that's a really important point. I'm sorry. It's exactly the same bus
No, it's not.
before
It is
and
not.
after.
It's not. I swear to you, it's not. I've worked at that school for 17 years.
Right.
It is not.
All right, Andy.
Well, so many years ago, a few years ago, in my time, when the school bus was coming down the village and started into school lane,
Yeah.
and then over at Tawton.
Yeah.
My other point is, if you wanted to get an ambulance, hopefully you come from Campton.
Yeah.
Once you get to the bottom of the village and it's blocked here by the church, you have to go lift up the Firestone to get into it. Because it couldn't come into the school lane, it couldn't come around back corners before it opened by the block, and it certainly couldn't come around it. So there is just one way in there.
You've been patient with your hand up about there.
Yeah, I just want to address the fact that there just isn't enough parking for residents on this stretch, say from the shop up to the top, for residents overnight on weekends and most people are in. There just isn't enough parking. parking.
Surely when people buy a house, they should think about that first. They shouldn't expect
Oh
Parish
my
and
God.
also been here 20 years, buy a
Absolutely
parking for well.
ridiculous.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm just, it's
It's not right, we've been here 20 years and we didn't, what was this?
Okay, okay.